Welcome to the Sussex Football Show with me, Dean Kilford, and powered by your instant replay. Burgess Hill Town came into this bank holiday weekend struggling to find goals. They must have feared the worst when Liam Hope nodded in from close range after just 15 minutes. Matthew Johnson doubled the London side's advantage from another corner just before the half hour. Just 6 minutes later, the Hillians were further behind. Sam Young was on hand to delicately chip the ball into the net. At half-time, the message surely would have been to keep things tight, but just 5 minutes into the second half, Matthew Johnson bagged his second of the game. He couldn't really miss with an empty net. Pat Harding was on hand to head in this rebound and breathe some life into the game by grabbing a consolation goal. But all that did was seem to drive Enfield into another gear, and with just 5 minutes to go, Sam Young's got in front of his marker to score his second of the game. Everything was going right for Enfield, and there was still time for substitute Ryan Blackman to add a sixth goal and condemn Burgess Hill Town to their largest home defeat for 2 years. Whitehawk came into this game unbeaten, having scored 4 goals in their last home game. Wingate and Finchley suffered defeat at the hands of Worthing on their last trip to the coast on the opening day of the season. And they must have thought the South Coast curse had struck again when Jason Williams' determination opened the scoring. Wingate and Finchley's goal against Worthing came from the penalty spot, and they had a sense of déjà vu when this challenge gave Mark Weatherstone a chance to level from 12 yards. He just about managed to do that despite the best efforts of Melvin Minter. Just 8 minutes later, and the referee pointed to the spot again. And Weatherstone duly stepped up to send the keeper the wrong way and score his second and give the visitors the lead on the stroke of half-time. Chances would come at either end, but with 7 minutes left, Mark Charles Smith must have thought it sealed all 3 points when he was left unmarked and free to give Wingate a 2-goal advantage. But Whitehawk weren't done yet. Substitute Luke Emberson heading past the keeper to give the Hawks hope. Despite a late flourish, Wingate and Finchley held out to condemn Whitehawk to their first defeat since their return to the Bostik Premier League. It was a repeat of the opening day of the season for Three Bridges as they hosted Phoenix Sports in the FA Cup. They'd lost that game 5-2 and must have feared the worst when Phoenix Sports were awarded a dubious penalty inside the first minute. Ashley Probert stepped up to score. It wasn't long before the referee pointed to the spot at the other end. A bit of grappling giving French the chance to level things up. And Connor French made no mistake from the spot for the second game in succession to level things up. Just 2 minutes before half-time, the home side went ahead. Jensen Grant scoring from a pinpoint cross. Phoenix Sports came out the second half a different team, and Jeff Duakesi was given far too much space on the left to level this tie up. Duakesi must love playing free bridges, and with 15 minutes to go he scored his second of the match and fourth against the host in the space of a week with this deft flick on. There was to be no comeback, and Three Bridges exit the FA Cup at the first hurdle. The final score here, Three Bridges 2, Phoenix Sports 3. The road to Wembley is a long one, as AFC Uckfield were playing in their second round of the competition at this early stage of the season. They welcomed Brodsfield United from Middlesex to the Oaks. Akoji opened the scoring when this free kick floated into the top corner, just off the upright. Brodsfield United then levelled the tie with this stooping diving header at the back post. And Broadfields could have taken the lead following this harsh decision for handball. But Louis Rogers guessed right to superbly keep out this penalty. Samuel Cooper then brilliantly improvised to turn the ball home from 12 yards and restore Uckfield's lead. As Broadfields pushed on for an equaliser, Callum Smith picked them off with a cool finish on the break. And just 3 minutes later, Uckfield had a penalty of their own following this clumsy challenge. Akoji then bagged his second of the game as AFC Uckfield put their name into Tuesday night's draw.
I'm over the moon, you know, just delighted for the boys, delighted for everybody. He does all the work behind the scenes at the club, and, you know, just, yeah, absolutely delighted. A great all-round team performance. I just thought Matt McLean was exceptional in the middle of the park. I thought Callum Smith was a real handful as well. You know, he puts himself around. He must be a nightmare to mark. You know, he's everywhere, and you know he gets his goals as well today. So, you know, over the moon for the boys.
Bognor Regis Town came into this game still unbeaten, having scored in every game. Lewes had had an extra week's rest than their visitors, and fitness looked like it may be a factor when the unfortunate Chadfield put into his own net to give the Rooks a 9th-minute lead. Lewes should have extended the lead 8 minutes later, but Ronnie Conlon's effort came back off the post. Lewes were made to pay just 2 minutes later. Jimmy Mewitz hadn't been on the score sheet for Bognor since the opening day of the season, but couldn't miss from 6 yards to level things up. Jonty Smith was Lewis's top scorer last season and finally opened his account for this campaign when the assistant referee ruled that this header had crossed the line. Lewes may have thought they would see this lead through to half-time, but just minutes after taking the lead, Broadbent brought down Jimmy Mewett to give him the chance to get his second from the penalty spot. And Mewett made no mistake, sending the keeper the wrong way. Smith was not to be outdone by his strike rival and scored his second of the game with his stunning effort from the corner of the box to give Lewes the lead for the third time. This Bognor team do not know when they're beaten, and they restored parity for the third time with 10 minutes to go. Bradley Lethbridge scoring maybe the goal of the game and his third in 4. There was to be no 7th goal, and both teams had to settle for a point on this bank holiday 6-goal thriller. Whitehawk were playing their second home game in 2 days and wanted to make amends for their disappointing defeat to Wingate and Finchley. They made plenty of changes to the starting 11 and saw this early free kick from Brannon O'Neill narrowly go over. Hindmarsh Brown then managed to juggle the ball past several Margate players, but he couldn't find a finish. Whitehawk then had Marvin Minter to thank for keeping things level thanks to this great point-blank save. Margate felt they should have had a penalty when Bazel appeared to be tripped in the box. And the final chance of the game fell to James Fraser, who could and probably should have given the Hawks all 3 points. So no goals here at the enclosed ground. It finished 0-0. Worthing came into this bank holiday Monday game with the league's only 100% record, and the fresher legs having not played on Saturday, unlike their visitors whose confidence must surely have been shaken following their heavy 6-1 home defeat to Enfield Town. Darren Budd had the best chance of a cagey first half, firing over from 20 yards. Crane came on as a second half substitute and was denied by this fine save by Josh James. Crane then went closest to breaking the deadlock. A goalmouth scramble eventually broke his way. His header clipping the top of the bar. Burgess Hill's best chance came just minutes from time. A rare break in the Worthing half saw Dan Beck square the ball to ex-rebel Kieran Pamment. His strike was well blocked. Adjaboy has been the star so far this season and nearly claimed all 3 points for the Rebels, but his effort cannoned off the bar and away to safety. So it was on as even in the bank holiday derby, Worthing still unbeaten, but Burgess Hill Town the happier with the point. Shoreham came into this game on the back of a disappointing 6-0 defeat to Walton Casuals in the FA Cup. Lancing, on the other hand, were on a high after producing a stunning 7-3 victory over Bostic's South East team Greenwich Borough. It was the home team that nearly took the lead, the crossbar denying Andrew Dolhos from scoring a spectacular overhead kick. But following on for his 4-goal haul in that game against Greenwich, it was Charlie Pitcher who put Lancing ahead on the half hour with a simple tap-in at the back post. Another goal hero from that FA Cup victory, Matthew Daniel then gave the Lancers a 2-goal lead heading into half-time, finally scoring at the 3rd attempt. With an hour gone, Stephen Joseph pulled one back for the home side, adjusting his feet to slot past the keeper. And just 17 minutes later, parity was restored. Amari Hibbert somehow managing to squeeze this effort in from the byline and score on his debut. There was still time though for Shoreham goalkeeper James Broadbent to be sent off, but there was to be no further goals, on as even at Middle Road. Three Bridges shipped 5 goals in their opening day league defeat to Phoenix Sports and 3 in their FA Cup defeat to the same team on Saturday. and they were behind in just under 10 minutes in this game. Dave Rahoy with a firm low strike into the bottom corner. Matt Loring was then on hand to turn the ball home from 12 yards to increase Guernsey's lead. Three Bridges then looked solid until a 3-goal 6-minute blitz in the second half blew them away. William Fazakerley started the spree, capitalising on a poor kick-out from Bridges goalkeeper Kieran Thorpe. Matt Loring was then given the chance to increase the lead from the penalty spot following this clumsy tackle. He duly obliged. Carlos Cana then skipped past two challengers and fired in from the edge of the box to give Guernsey an emphatic 5-0 win on their travels and leave Three Bridges firmly rooted to the bottom of the early Bostik South East Division. It was the opening day of the under-18 season, and last season champions Whitehawk made the short trip to Lewes. It was Lewes, though, who took the lead on 15 minutes, Gifford scoring this incredible free kick from 30 yards. This Whitehawk team have made a habit of winning, and it was no surprise when they were back level. Malila on hand to slide the ball into the net. And with just 8 minutes to go, the turnaround was complete. Jackson had the freedom of the Lewes penalty box to head home. Last year's champions hold on and start the season off on the right foot.